Hello. What are you doing?
I am inspecting the viewers. You are still watching. Wonderful. What are we looking at right now, if you can't read the title?
Yep, we are looking at Whoa.
Yeah, you should probably hold those up. I'll take one if you want.
Flash and Firestorm. Just take out a lighter and burn it. No, don't. So, he put down Flash, so...
I suppose we are looking first at the Fury of Firestorm.
The Nuclear Men.
Yeah, it's strange. Nuclear Man. That's something that we have to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange. This is drawn by someone who I don't know. It is co-written between Gail Simone and
Ethan Vanderbilt.
Don't think I've Vanderbilt. Don't think I've read anything else that he's written. It's odd because it's strange. I know Gail Simone's also doing Batgirl, and I know that every time we get to Gail Simone, I tend to talk about her more than other writers. But what strikes me as being very strange is just looking at the books that she writes and what she was writing before the relaunch and what she's writing now. I mean, it makes sense. With her writing Batgirl, it's like she was doing Birds of Prey before. But it's strange that when she's writing another book, she's co-writing The Fury of Firestorm. It's just, I found that surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure entirely, I don't know, maybe just strange. You've got some people who are working on like multiple titles. She does 1.5. It's just odd considering what she had before and what we're doing now.
Yep. So,
who is Firestorm? I actually don't know. I have to admit, unlike most of these characters, I hadn't even really heard of Firestorm until this relaunch.
Mm-hmm.
So, I am walking into this completely blind.
But in this book, Firestorm is a
nuclear weapon.
He's a nuclear weapon. He's made from Higgs boson particles that explode and turn people who are near the explosion into Firestorm. I think.
He's Radioactive Man from The Simpsons.
Kinda.
I'm becoming radioactive. No, I just realized, as long as The Simpsons has been running, Radioactive Man has been a recurring character. I still don't know what his powers are.
Anyway.
He's tired.
Yeah. Well, I'm just yawning a bunch.
Can I have more room to sit down, please?
Yeah. We're kind of sharing a chair because there's only one.
Slightly.
Anyway. Yeah, he's a nuclear meltdown on legs.
Pretty much. So the plot of this book.
So we have these two guys who are high school students, and one of them is a jock, the other's kind of nerdy, and the nerdy one works for the school paper, and he's doing an article on the jock, and he has, bad feelings for the jock, so he makes fun of him, and there's this kind of feud between the two.
It's a race war.
Yeah, also that.
It's not a feud. It's a race war.
Yeah.
High school race war.
Yep.
See, I want to write a comic called High School Race War. No, I want to read a comic called High School Race War. It would probably be very...
racy?
Racy, yes, exactly.
Okay. So...
And meanwhile,
there are these four guys who are looking for the Higgs boson bomb that makes a firestorm and killing a lot of people in order to get it.
There are 4 that they know of, and they have the location of 3. They're trying to find the last one, so they go around torturing scientists and
high school students
and little children, killing their families and telling them that, alright, I'm just going to slit your father's throat just to be safe, saying some really horrible things. They're incredibly, incredibly evil people.
It's almost like...
not the fun kind of evil people, either.
Yeah, they're almost like the Stormwatch crew a little bit, in that they're no-nonsense guys who want to just get the job done.
No, I get the sense that they...
no, these guys are mercenaries. They're not heroes, but...
But it seems to me that they are far more brutal in what they do.
Yeah, like they'll torture.
The way that they talk, they remind me almost of... I know I mentioned Batgirl already, but I was most reminded of the people who wore the monster masks in Batgirl in the opening fight scene. How they just have this real sort of despicable quality to them that goes beyond that of a lot of
Gail Simone wrote those characters, probably.
See, I can't tell. That's one thing I will say. It's hard to tell what came from where in this. It's pretty seamless, so it's probably not like, I'll write one page, you write the other. I wonder how those co-writing things worked. I'm wondering if one person was on story, one person was on script, if it was...
One person does characters, one person does scenario.
That sounds strange, but anyway. And then the two groups eventually collide in their paths, and this may or may not happen.
Yeah.
Are we going to... Would we be giving anything away to say that they become this?
No, I don't think so.
So then...
It's on the cover.
So then the idea is, they both become Firestorm.
Yeah. They hate each other, but they have to work together to save the world, or something. One of them's a nerd and the other's a jock. I think
it's a sitcom. It's a superhero sitcom.
And they don't know how to use their powers at all.
One of them doesn't know how to use his powers. And they're just full of nuclear energy blowing shit up for 5 pages.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of like... Yeah. I don't have a comparison.
See, I have to wonder if Firestorm is the nuclear man, what does that make Captain Atom?
The atomic man.
Then what does that make the Atom?
The tiny man.
Then what does that make... There's no one called Tiny Man, is there?
Probably not.
Not yet. What are your thoughts on the story?
I think it kind of follows the same formula as Blue Beetle did. You have a high school student dealing with issues, and then he becomes a superhero. But I think that the fact that you do have 2 people now to bicker, because I like bickering, I said this before, you have the dialogue between the two, I think works better. I think that the writing, just in general, is better done. It really hooked me. I'm interested in these characters. And I think it just takes that high school kid becoming a formula, having to deal with other issues, and does it way better than Static Shock or Blue Beetle did. And I like this a lot more than either of the others.
I think that these characters are both jerks, essentially, and they're not particularly nice, although they have good hearts. I think that...
And they're not classy jerks.
No. They're not, who's a classy jerk?
Well, they're not magnificent bastards.
No, they're just kind of, I mean, I think they're jerks in the realistic sense.
Yeah.
They're just jerks the way that,
one of them is
someone who you know
one
might
of them
be
is a pompous genius type guy who uses the media as a weapon, and the other is kind of a lunkhead. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you do have, like, there's one scene where we see them both just at the dinner table with their families, and we see just their,
yeah.
The much more human aspect to them. It's just something that we get a hint of, but it's enough that they don't seem like just cardboard cutouts, or enough that they don't seem like just character types. The people who go around torturing folks, that part is also, it's mostly exposition, but it's exposition told through action, that I guess if you're getting the exposition by someone...
It's shown, not told.
Yeah, well... It's still told, but I think that if you get the exposition, if you have someone giving information while being tortured, it's more interesting than just having 2 people casually conversing about stuff that, as you know, this thing does this. Although, at the same time, every time we saw a scene with them, as the thing progressed, I was like, alright, they're going after this thing. We know that obviously one of these kids has it. When are we just going to get to the thing being used and this happening? It's like, I do kind of feel like, when are we going to get to this? I didn't necessarily feel that way in Blue Beetle or something, because it's a similar thing with this high school student origin story. In Blue Beetle, at least we didn't have intervals constantly reminding us that this thing was coming. It's like that the big device is going to be introduced, but it's not happening yet. Instead, we're wondering about it and if it's going to happen. So, yeah, that's... I got a little bit impatient with that. And visually, what can we say?
Visually. Very,
it has pictures.
It has pictures, there's words. It's bright. It is bright. The colors are pronounced.
I think that it uses intense colors. Like here,
that's a good word.
And also, oftentimes, well not oftentimes, but at times, especially here, you'll see we'll kind of lose background. The background will just be shades so that we could focus on individual actions. Oddly enough, it doesn't feel kind of like it's taking place in a vacuum the way that some other comics do, because it's like it's actually you actually have things that are interesting enough happening in the foreground that are self-contained enough that we don't need background in order to follow it. And again, that focuses more on these fellows. And then the scenes that take place like in the school are kind of, it feels pretty
Comic
natural, I
booky.
would say. It feels natural yet comic booky. I mean, I think every time we've seen a school so far, it's looked very much like this. But then again, I'm not sure how many ways there are that you could tell the story of school. So,
I'm not even in
it's
shot
weird.
anymore.
Look here. He's angry, so he has light coming from his head. And then, later on, he's angry, and he literally has light coming from his head. Oh, and then there is the fact that after the thing gets thinged and the firestorm happens, the backgrounds just become a lot of swirling fire.
Yep.
And the foreground becomes a lot of swirling fire. So I found that just kind of not distracting, but just less interesting. I think that as the pages go, it just kind of all blends together. But there's
I'm
not
yawning
very
a bunch.
yeah, because you're tired. But there's not very much of that. It's only like maybe 5, 7 pages, so I can handle that. But yeah, it's really setting up. It's an odd couple story with nuclear stuff going on. Where would you put this on a letter scale?
On a letter scale, I'd give it B.
Would you like to elaborate?
I like the characters. I like the setup. I like the yeah, that's about it. I like the setter. I like the characters, the setting, the setup. I like the writing. The writing was good. Pictures were picturey.
I like the stuff. It was
Yeah.
good.
I liked it.
And
I'm too tired to explain my opinion right now.
yeah, it's oh no, it's 4 o'clock.
Hey, I
Woke up in the morning.
Yeah, I had to wake up today
Yeah.
after sleeping. I don't know why I'm so tired. I shouldn't be this tired. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, I'll continue.
No.
So, I would give it probably a C. I think the characters are interesting. We've got a good dynamic going that I could see following. At the same time, though, I would say the setup feels a little bit slow because every time we get these mercenaries, I feel more like they're slowing down the plot than advancing it. And also, it's not really clear what the terms of the plot are going to be. I don't know if this is similar to some other origin story things that we've looked at so far, but I think that not very much or not enough is established other than the relationship of these two characters to each other and the fact that the Firestorm machine is important. So now that it's been used, it's entirely unclear what's going to happen and where we're going to be going. So I'm not really sure how much this is setting us off in that direction, but I would give it a C. Not bad. I may or may not continue reading. It depends.
I'll continue reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on to a comic again. The Flash.
Yeah. Flash. So that's what I think of when I think of the Flash.
Yep. Hey, stop making fun
It's
of
the
me.
Flash. Flash.
Stop making fun of me. Drink.
Who is the Flash? Well, who is the Flash in this comic?
This Flash is Barry Allen.
Barry Allen. Again.
He's the Silver Age Flash, which is a weird choice.
One of the Silver Age Flashes.
Well, he is one of the older Flashes.
I'd like to see a comic about the Golden Age Flash with the helmet, the jeans, and everything.
Yeah, but there he is. He's the Flash, fastest man alive. Got his powers in a lab accident, but also because the mystical speed force that controls all of motion has gifted him with these great speed-based abilities.
And now he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
Because he's the Flash.
he's completely overpowered.
He can vibrate at frequencies that change the nature of reality.
Run faster than the speed of light.
He can run faster than the speed of light. He can touch something and make it explode. He can go through walls. He can go around the world in 80 days. Maybe less. Yet I'm not sure if he's been able to outrun Superman yet.
He is.
Has he?
Yeah. Those races were for charity, Clark.
Yeah.
So yeah, And
That is the idea of the Flash. And what happens in
this comic,
issue?
well, in this issue, Barry Allen works as a police.
He's a medical examiner.
He's a medical examiner for the police, and in this issue, he's
at an event.
He's at an event where he gets ambushed by these soldier guys
who are there to steal something.
Yep, and as he fights the soldier guys, he accidentally might have perhaps killed one of them.
Yes.
And he finds out that the soldier he might have killed was one of his friends, Manuel, who he lost touch with some time ago.
And then he struggles to, well, not struggles to, but devotes himself to getting to the bottom of the mystery.
The mystery of the Manuel.
What happened to Manuel? Why was he involved in...
So just when he's trying to, kind of just starting to get to the bottom of this...
Noah spoils the ending.
Yeah. Something comes up, people appear, Flash does a thing, and...
We don't need to mention what it is. It's something interesting and surprising, and makes the mystery go even further.
Yep.
I mean, that's the basic gist of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what did you think of the plot?
I liked it. There's a lot of things left to wonder about, but it doesn't. I don't think it feels like they just didn't explain enough. I felt they explained everything that they should have, and all the mysteries deserve to be mysteries. Like, it's nothing that should have been explained that just wasn't. We got all the backstory we needed. We know exactly what Flash is going through. We know his mindset and all this. We have some personal stuff with Barry Allen and just Barry Allen's life outside of the Flash.
And his history with Manuel.
And I found just the Flash as a character. I like him. He's a fun guy.
What I think is interesting is that we see very little of him actually as the Flash in action. Which I think that when you're writing the Flash, you really need to conserve your Flash. Because if you're going to have him fighting someone, it's very, I'm not going to say hard to make such a sequence interesting, but if you go for too long with it, it's easy to kind of lose your way and say, why doesn't Flash just do whatever and save the day? Because you think it would be really easy for him to save the day in these kinds of situations.
He's the fastest man alive.
Yeah, that it's not a story of Flash saving the day, it's a story of Flash
chasing somebody.
Yeah, you can't really do Flash chasing someone, but it's actually a story about Flash trying to figure out what happened. It's like there's a very short action sequence and then what just happened. And there's a lot of, again,
it's kind of like the Flash moves so fast that he misses a lot as he's doing it and has to go back and find out what exactly he did.
Yeah, because we're looking at now the past.
Yeah.
And trying to... Yeah, we're exploring his past, we're exploring his relationships, and also I think we get a good sense of sort of the stress of this incident and also the distress that comes about as a result of it. So I think that overall it's short. It goes by very fast, you could say, or not.
But interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's not an overly complex story, and it doesn't. It's not like Superman, where it feels like it should take like an hour to read. But at the same time, there are a lot of interesting ideas that are introduced, and apparently it's so boring that it put Noah to sleep.
It's not. No. The comic isn't boring. I enjoyed both comics that we read in this video. I'm just kind of tired.
Let's talk about what this looks like.
Okay, I just want to bring up 2 pages in general. These are my...
Actually, show that page first. No, the other page, the one leading up to it.
Okay, so
we've got 2 title pages here.
We got the credits page over here,
which I think has just a great shot of him
turning into the Flash,
putting on his costume. Yeah,
and then we have
coming right at you, and then
what, in my opinion, is the best splash page that we have seen in the relaunch.
The best 2-page splash cover page that all of these seem to have had.
The Flash.
And
you have over here in the corner, it kind of like a little radio intro.
Yeah, it's like
a really quick summary of his backstory. Struck by a bolt of lightning and doused in chemicals, Central City police scientist Barry Allen was transformed into the fastest man alive. Tapping into the energy field called the Speed Force, he applies a tenacious sense of justice to protect and serve the world as the Flash. And it's kind of like this whole Silver Age-y type introduction to the character, and it's just really cool.
Yeah, no, it really does. Again, feels like an old school like radio or TV series intro when you give a little summary of who the character is, almost like the Green Hornet or something. I really like the way that looks. And overall, how does this comic itself look? The art style.
The art style, fast.
It looks fast.
There are a lot of speed lines, a lot of kind of blurriness. I'm trying to find a really good panel that is one of the title ones. Yeah, this is all not Flash.
Yeah, see, that's it. There's very little where the Flash is actually in action.
It kind of looks watercolory.
Yeah, but I would say it has a very sort of pale, subdued palette to it. And I think it works. We get the sense that what we have, and this is a darker page.
Yeah.
I think the title page that we showed is more indicative of the general color palette. I think we get the sense that this is a world that's perhaps not as solid as it may seem. Not that it's like
it is a world in motion.
Yeah, it's a world in motion. It's a that's why things are at times blurry. Things are at times a bit not very heavily in the foreground. But
things look painted. Like there's strokes. You know.
Yeah.
Like it looks like you can see the movement of a brush, kind of making everything.
It definitely has that type of shading to it, which I think works very well. And again, also that I think the paler color palette, almost as though you're looking at it through glass, which I think it's at least very distinctive, if nothing else. And I also think it makes just sort of this whole world look, in addition to fast, as he said, in addition to the world in motion, it also makes it look very fragile.
Yeah.
So I think that works very well. Where would you put this comic on a letter scale?
I would give it an A-.
I would give it a B+. I think that the one problem that I have is that I think toward the end it just starts to pile on the questions and pile on the mysteries a little bit too fast for my taste. So it gets a little bit overwhelming toward the end. But beyond that, I would say it's a good issue.
Yeah.
Again, not very action-heavy, but really setting up a
sets
story.
Up the characters, sets up a story.
Sets up the emotional journey for the character.
And the art, I really enjoyed the art.
It's effective.
It's effective art. Yeah, so, what are we doing next?
Next, I assume that we are going to be looking at Green Lantern, New Guardians,
and Teen Titans!